My name is Deborah Schweikart. I am owner of the Arizona Bird Store, and this is
Jennifer Darbison.
So we're going to do a little mock-up tutorial video on how we here at the Arizona Bird Store tries to find the perfect pet for my clients, because it's super important for us to do it, which is why we have clients for the last 25, 30 years. And that's not a complaint, although it might have sounded like one. But we try to do the best at matching up what people are looking for, what people are wanting, and what will work out best for them, dependent on their own personal situation. So we're just going to kind of run through this with you, and we're going to see where it ends up. We'll see if you guys can kind of guess right as to which bird Miss Jenny is going to end up with. All right, so we know you're looking for a bird.
Yes.
Right. So what's some of the very first questions that we had asked you when you were looking? Do you have an idea in your mind as to what kind of bird that you wanted to get? Why?
I didn't know what type, but I knew why. And, you know, I grew up with cockatiels. I have one now. And
so you presently had a bird before you were looking for another bird. So that's one of the first things we want to know, like how experienced you are in having a bird, owning a bird, taking care of a bird, handling a bird, blah, 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 blah. So you tell me what experience you have.
so I grew up having cockatiels. I had 2 cockatiels as a kid, and I have a cockatiel now.
Okay. Okay. So that has been your only experience.
Correct.
So, and how long have you had this cockatiel that you have?
About 3 years.
Okay. And so you're wanting to, which most people do, is that they want to now kind of get something bigger, something better, something brighter. So did you have any idea of what you wanted to, what kind of bird you want to get into?
You know, I'm not really sure yet.
Okay. A bigger bird.
A bigger bird.
Okay. Because you kind of outgrew the cockatiel.
Well, not outgrown her.
Right.
She's still my love. But
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times people will start with cockatiels with the idea of, I'm going to get a bigger bird. Like, well, they come in and they want to get a big bird. But then as we find out that they don't have any bird experience whatsoever, well, we could always get something bigger, something more like later on. And I'll tell you, probably half the time, a lot of people are like, no, that's okay.
we'll stick with this.
That bird is like, that's enough. There's
Yeah.
a lot of personality wrapped up in that baby. And they start to realize how much time. You can tell people that these guys take time,
Right.
but what does that, like, if I say that to you, I'm sure that that means completely different to me.
Right.
I need to know how much you're going to spend.
Sure.
Because and that's kind of like, I know that I've been at stores like looking for a car or, you know, looking for a washing machine or something like that. And they're like, well, how much you want to spend? Instantly, I'm like, well, it's none of your business. So, but it's pointless for me to waste your time.
Right.
And for me to waste my time. Not that I find talking to you wasting my time, but if the goal is to find the right bird for you, let's not have me start showing you thousands of dollars in birds when you're like, hey, I have $1,000 to spend. And that would include the cage and the toys and the food and everything we kind of started out with. So that one of the very first things, I want to find out how much you're comfortable in spending, because they could be pricey.
Oh, yes.
It could be very pricey. And so I think you could stay right up here. So we were just talking about trying to find an idea of how much you want to spend. Personally, I don't care.
Right.
You're in my store, you're not leaving without spending any money anyways. Only kidding. But I mean, that it's kind of crazy, like I said, to be trying to show you stuff. I mean, if I'm going to go for a car, don't show me a Mercedes-Benz. Don't show me a Rolls-Royce, because you're wasting both of our time.
We're not there.
Right. So something like kind of get an idea of like what you want to spend, and I think people think I feel like I'm being judged when people ask me that. You know,
Okay,
like,
fair.
I only have $15,000 to spend on a car. You know, I mean, I don't want people to feel like I'm judging them.
That goes back to getting something that fits you, because you don't want them to overspend.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then they're like, now they're regretting it, and now they want to come back and be like, I can't afford this. So this is not good for the bird, which is our like number one kind of thing. We've already talked about the money. So let's recap. You have bird experience, you want to get something a little bit bigger, and I kind of have an idea of how much money you want to spend.
Yes.
So you're going to have to get like the cage. What is it the top 2 things that you want to get out of this bird that you are now thinking about purchasing?
So I want to get a bird. I'm very family oriented. I spend a lot of time with my family. So I want to get a bird I could bring around my family, and be able to share her. And then,
So other people handling it, other people petting it, kind of just like fits in this whole scheme of things.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I want to be able to take her places. So socializing her,
Right.
those are kind of my tops.
Okay.
I am very afraid I'm going to end up with a very loud bird. That is my biggest fear.
Because
I've heard birds before be really loud.
so like then okay, so then I'm gonna try to find out like what say like the top 2 things that you're not wanting. in a
Okay.
bird.
I'm afraid of the noise level because I've heard some very loud birds. And I'm not wanting a bird that's going to be overwhelming for me, that I'm not capable of. That's my biggest fear, is getting a bird and I can't take care of
What
it.
is overwhelming?
Like I feel like I don't know what to do with this bird. Right.
You don't want to be overwhelmed.
I had the time to commit, and that was an important part
Yeah.
in deciding. But you're right.
I don't want a high level.
Not right.
Yeah, not high
Not.
level.
I don't want the highest level.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, of being taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right. So that we know that there's lories that require, a little specialized diet, and because of their diet, they need a little more specialized cleaning. Quaker conures that we need to sell, which I think we actually do, that might have been just a little bit more noise, for you. Now, I think that we should also say that these statements that I say are not 100% true for all birds. Okay, I just made a statement about lories, and I just made a statement about quakers that may not fit a handful of birds that are out there. I'm just kind of generalizing, okay?
And is it fair to say when a bird's needs are met, they're less likely to scream? Is that a fair statement?
I would say when a bird's needs are met, they're just overall happier.
Yeah.
Right? So do birds scream because it's just their thing to do? Absolutely.
Okay.
Bird comes home, people spend a massive amount of time with it for the first couple of months, totally normal. That as humans, that's what we do. And then so bird gets very used to that.
Okay.
And it's like, well, this is the way that life is going to be. So then all of a sudden, newness wears off, and now all of a sudden you're not spending that 2, 3, 4 hours, which should never be done, a day with your bird, because that now sets them up as to, this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. Well, that's not how it's going to be for the rest of their life. That's not even going to be for the rest of your life. Then what happens is you're on the phone and bird hears you talking, doesn't understand, maybe does. You're on the phone talking to somebody else, but you're engaging like how you would engage with them, talking to them. You're doing that with something else. Now the bird's like, hey, yo, what's about me? And you're like, oh my God, my bird loves me so much. So you get your bird out. It's okay. You can engage in this whole thing. And so now we have this whole thing going on. Well, you do that a couple of times, and that bird figures that out really quick. That's all that they have to do is like, hey, what about me? And you just come over there running. You may be on the phone one time and talking to somebody on the phone that's kind of important, and you can't get the bird out at that point in time. So what do? Here's a peanut. Okay, here. I'm talking to, okay, yeah, it's just my bird. Hold on a second. Here you go, baby. Here's a peanut. Just to kind of keep him satisfied. Well, how many times does that have to happen? That bird's like, okay, well, if I'm not getting out, I'm getting a treat. Okay, so what are you teaching them by doing that?
Okay, so Debbie, let me get this right. So if I'm on the phone, I can't give my bird attention, and my bird screams, and then I hand him a treat, a peanut, because I want to shut him up, and then it happens again. When this bird wants a peanut, it's going to scream.
Or anything. Like he knows he's going to get something.
Yeah.
He may come out of the cage and get something. He may get like a little treat. But everything that he's been getting has been positive. So if you want your bird to scream, give it all the positive reinforcement that you can. Right.
Oh, God, she is not going to go to you, Debbie.
No.
So, Debbie, you said I can't have my bird out and with somebody for 4 hours, but I really want my bird to be out amongst the family. How do I make that happen?
So the bird can be out amongst the family, but doesn't have to be that.
Okay.
Right? You can have a stand, you can have a big play area. I've seen elaborate stuff that's hung like from the ceiling. So the bird can still feel part of what's happening in the house, but doesn't have to be on your lap. It can be very content with just being around. And that's fine. And that's what you want, right? You particularly want an animal that's going to feel very comfortable in this environment.
Right.
So I would suggest as a trainer that you do that.
Yeah.
Like we want him to feel comfortable in that.
So we're going to put him on a perch and let him be a bird.
Right. I noticed that when we were doing some dog training, and my good friend Kim had suggested that when I had my dog, and she was a puppy, and she would get really riled up when another dog was coming around. So the first thing you want to do is like, it's okay, and you pat and just like you gotta, like, they have to understand that they cannot act crazy when there's other dogs there, and it's not going to come from you sitting there
saying it's okay.
Yeah, or comforting them, right? They got to like get it through their head or wrap their brain around it. You can sit there. I don't have to comfort you. We don't want the outcome to always be that your bird is just okay when you're holding it.
Gotcha. Maybe have some time, a little bit of time for the snuggling?
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, we at the store recommend like an hour a day. Okay. And I don't care if you break it up into 4 15 minutes, 2 half hours, or you spend 1 entire hour doing it. I don't care.
Okay.
And this only comes from me watching for 45 years how people have done this and how I see what they produce. And all you're doing is holding it 4 or 5 hours a day. You're going to create a monster. You want to set your bird up for success.
Right, yes.
As humans, we're into the instant gratification. Right. Personally, instant gratification takes too long. But so recapping, you want to get a bigger bird. You already have a little bit of experience. You don't want a screamer. You want something that's going to be super loving, and you have time to spend with it. We've already discussed a price amount. Who lives in your house?
Okay, so right now it's me and my son, and he is about 13.
Okay.
He's also interested in birds, and
Right.
the cockatiel is technically his bird.
So he's not coming into this blinded either. If he was 5 years younger, we might be going, maybe not quite right now, or we'll have to do some things different.
Which it goes back to setting everybody up for success.
Correct. Because like I said, the last thing I want to do is be bouncing a bird back and forth, from home to home. And unfortunately, it does happen, and I think it's just from a lack of education that people like see a particular bird that they see like we have it on TikTok, we have it on Facebook, and we have that, and people are like, oh my God, I find that fascinating. I would love to have that. But they don't understand really, it's not just about a bird doing all these things and saying all this cool stuff. The next 23 hours and 55 minutes in the day is going to require, taking care of feeding, cleaning, and other things that they may not have really thought of. So I get it that the world happens sometimes. So we want to try to mitigate a lot of those problems before they even happen. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where you're at in your ability to be handling birds. As I'm trying to plug in the right bird that would be good for you, or at least come down to like 2 or 3 of them, say the choice. I'm going to see how your ability to handle birds is. So I might have you go to try to pick up a macaw, pick up a cockatoo, pick up conures, things like that, just to kind of see like where you're at with that. So those are just like a couple of quick things that we run through to figure out what's going to work out best for you, because truly our number one goal is to make you happy, to make the bird happy, because we don't make a whole lot of money on selling birds. What we want is clients to have forever. And you're going to recommend us and live happily ever after. Okay, so kind of after asking Jenny a lot of these questions, which we spend a lot of time with our clients that are thinking about getting a bird, trying to figure all this stuff out. It takes a minute. Some of the things that I would probably not suggest are something like an African gray.
Okay.
Because you did not hit me with, I want a talking bird,
Right.
which a lot of people do. That's like their top 2 things. They want a talking bird.
Not my priority.
Right? So I think that's for sure not this bird on my head.
Why not?
So the African gray, even though, again, there might be some African grays that really enjoy being in the midst of things, they typically don't.
Okay.
They are, I'll be over here if you need me kind of bird. You know what I mean? Hey, you're here during the day? Great. You're not here during the day? Great. Don't care. You know what I mean?
That's what matters.
They don't really dig so much being like passed around. Like they're
Yeah.
not, ugh, you know what I mean? Amazons, again, if you were talking, your priorities be talking, I would maybe suggest something like that. Although they do love being in the spotlight,
Yeah.
being all engaged with stuff, they have a tendency to start getting loud when that happens. Okay. They're like, party is on! Thank you all for being here! You know, kind of thing. Where you have the gray that says, don't need to come to the party. The Amazon's like, I'm there, I'm bringing beer.
I am the party.
I am the party. And the macaw is good, but if you have only had experience with the cockatiel, that's a kind of a big jump.
Okay.
Okay, because cockatiels, so sweet,
Yes.
so loving. Kids carry them around by their heads
Yep.
at times. You know what I mean? They're just so nice. To jump to something like that might require a little bit more heavy of a disciplinarian thing.
Okay.
I'm not really sure that that's even what you're looking for.
Right.
Okay.
No.
A conure, going back now, I think you want to get it something even a little bit bigger, even though that's a lot of personality wrapped up in that little body. The noise thing might be like a super factor, even though they do like being, part of the whole family thing. So you can see like these little boxes that in my head I'm like ticking and, kind of canceling some other ones out that's not going to really work. I was going to say, I think I might have the perfect bird for you, but we already know you got her.
I did get
Which
the perfect
is the perfect bird. Just wanted to know what you guys thought after hearing this. What would be the best bird for Miss Jenny? Her perfect bird is a Charlotte.
Yay!
Charlotte is an umbrella cockatoo.
Yep. And she's 3 years old.
And you got her as a baby.
I met her here when she was 2 months.
Okay.
So I've known her forever.
Right. If you had to do it all over again.
Yep. I would keep it the same.
Okay.
I was patient and waited for the right bird, and
You were very patient.
got the perfect bird.
Like
I know.
I wish I had half your patience.
Now,
And
I
you
wish,
took-
the one thing I do wish is I knew how many toys she would go through.
Oh, did we not cover that?
Probably not, because you didn't want to scare me.
How many toys did she go through?
She
And
loves
with-
her toys. She shreds them.
But you actually put her in a position that she plays with toys.
Correct.
Because you followed the golden rule.
Yes.
And only handle her like an hour a day. But you let her be a bird, you let her be a Charlotte, you let her be an umbrella cockatoo, which means she's playing with toys, she's investigating different things.
Right.
So good for her. She's not super obsessively attached to you that when you go into another room, she's like screaming for you, which I personally think is like not only setting you up for success, setting her up for success. And if she had to go to a different home for one reason or another, she's going to be fine.
Right.
She's going to be fine. As somebody who's handing this over to you to take care of, I want to know that. You know what I mean? I want to know that we're doing the best thing for her, hands down possible.
Yeah, definitely. And preparing her for the long-term future. And maybe when I'm not here anymore.